Hi everybody, Colin here. I've got a bit of an issue with a bit of track. Um, I've had a couple of goes with one. The first one broke, the wire came off the back of it, tried to solder it on, and it just melted the shoes what hold the actual rail on this little piece, and it disconnected. So that one was broke. Then I got another. A lot of money. I think they're about £78 a piece. You can sometimes get it a bit cheaper. And it's a scissor crossing, Pico code 55 Electro Frogs. Now, the trouble I have is it's under my town scene, and I'll just move you around so you can see it. There's where's going to be the town up on top, and underneath here, underneath there, is the scissor crossing. And the other day it even stopped working on the straight lines going straight through on the anti-clockwise. And I've had loads of issues in the past, muck and stuff. There's nothing wrong with the scissor crossing. The issue I'm having is it's under the town scene, and it's the furthest bit away from my entry where I put my hand in and look. And I'll just show you that from the other side of my town. So just hold on. So there it is from this side. If I can go back far enough, you can see there's a hole at the back. I'm standing next to my door what I come into the shed, but in there is the scissor crossing, and it's just awkward to get to for cleaning, and if anything does go wrong and I need to get my hand in. I'm just going to lift my town scene off, and we'll come back and have another look. Okay, I may have found my problem, and this is what I like about model railway. Something happens, you've got to try and fix it and find the solution and sort it. Now, if you look at that point there, it's sat on some white. The rest I've stuck straight to the board. Now, the reason that stuck on there is I put my hand in there sometimes. If a train gets stuck, reach over, put my hand in. And as I've said before, bull in a china shop, and I've knocked it and it's broken the glue joint. And what I thought, I'll put a piece of Plasticard down and stick it to that. That one's worked. Now what's happened is this one has done the same, and I've only just found this out. You'll notice there's no town scene here at all, no scenery. I've just lifted it off, but if you look, that is loose because it had unstuck off my insulation. Now they do stick. If I just poke that one, that's not moving. But that has, and all I can think of is that it's just faulted the connection on there. So I'm hoping that's going to work. I'm going to stick that down in the right place, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the train. Well, I might run the train now before I stick it and just see if it makes an improvement once I stick it down. So I'll just get the train round. Won't be a sec. So it was a class 68 I was showing you in the last video, running over that new piece of track. I was just sending it back round, and here it comes, and hopefully it'll stop. Yeah, right. Now, I'm just going to use the hand of God here, and I'm just going to push the arm of the point over. So it's not possibly anything to do with that point being loose. I did put my track cleaner in. What I've got is one of the Woodland Scenics Tidy Track. Now I got that so I could reach in with the cleaner and rub it, but it may need a little bit more cleaning. So I'll just move the train off with the hand of God, give it a clean. Everybody knows, well, the majority of us all know how to clean the track. Anybody new, you can use pads where you put liquid on, and there's many choice of liquids, and also the good old Pico track rubber. Now again, there are other makes of that, and there are other forms of transport you can use for cleaning. I'm looking into getting one, and I'll show you that in the future, but for now I'll just give it a clean and see what happens. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, I'm back. In all fairness, and to be truthful, it's taken a good 2 to 2.5 hours to sort out. Now, what I found was the black wire there had disconnected. The black wire there had disconnected. That's one. The other thing, what has caused me a lot of problems, and I still think it is, I stuck this down with some rocket glue. Now it stuck it, but I think I put too much on, and the liquid seeped up and maybe got into the bits of points where the arms are of the point molds. So I think that's still causing me problems, because what I ended up having to do in between the gaps of those points, that arm and that piece of track, I cleaned it, still did do it. It still did it, stopped when I soldered them back on. So what I ended up doing was getting a file and rubbing it on that edge and that edge. And the other thing I found out, it was also doing it on that line. And I tried a different engine to see if it was the engine, because you know what model railway is like. One engine will go over it, the other engine wouldn't. Now, the other thing, what was happening, if I made the points go from that track to there, on both of them, or just one, and took the train over, it worked. It was only in the straight line. So all I could think of, power wasn't getting to this complicated bit there through these arms on that piece of track. So just to show you that it is working, the Class 37 going over that piece of track, and if it stops I'll shout. Goes over there now. And if I run it back, it goes over. And to show you the Class 68 on the other one, and the Class 68 wasn't working on either, and the 37 going straight on, so they both had the same problem. That now goes over. So basically you've just got to keep a stiff upper lip. You haven't got to lose your rag, you've got to be patient, you just got to be methodical and go through all the different things it could be. What I do believe I'm going to have to do is reset the servos on those, because the other thing is I don't think it's just pushing it hard enough. Now I've left the springs on these just to help click it in, and sometimes that one doesn't actually click in, and with me re-gluing these after I've set it, that also I believe is causing me a problem. So for now I'm going to put my town scene back on, and then another dry day I can take my town scene outside, put it on the table outside, and I'll reset those points up the servos so they work hopefully better. I still think this is a bit of an issue, but I'm going to give it a bit longer because the idea works perfect. And what the idea is, my train can come out of the goods yard on this track and get onto that line, which is the anti-clockwise line. If the goods engine comes out and goes straight on down that track, it goes on the return loop and ends up going the opposite way, clockwise. If I'm running a train anti-clockwise on that track and I want it to run on a longer run and go on the anti-clockwise for a bit, it goes across that. So this is why I wanted to use this. There are other ways, is just to use 2 lefts and 2 rights at some point. That does the same thing, but I was fascinated with this. I thought it was a marvellous piece of engineering. It's my fault it's not working right. It's not the point's fault. So I will persevere a bit longer with it. So I'm going to put my town scene back on. I'll just show you with the town scene lifted back on in place. And when I actually decorate the main board, it'll go up to my cliff edge, my woodland and tunnels and stuff, and it'll still lift off and it'll just butt up. There'll be like hedges there for it to go up to. So I'll just go outside, pick it up, put it on, show you it back, and then hopefully that has been quite interesting for you. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, that's the town scene back on. Literally just a minute. Just got to lift this tree back up, which I don't know where I'm putting it yet, so it's just keeping out of the way over there. So that is sorting out a scissor point. I know arms of points can get mucking, so even if it wasn't the glue, which I think it is more of an issue on that, where I stuck it down, it seeped up and got in the way. And when I put the cleaner on, the cleaner is like a thin as tight, what might melt the glue a little bit and then drag it up, and then it gets in the way. It won't do it on any of the other points. If the arms do get mucky and the frog motor isn't just working, then to change the polarity, then it'll be just a bit of muck in it. So that's that little video. Just as a matter of interest, I'm going to be going to the N-Gage exhibition on Sunday. I don't know if anybody else is going, but it'd be nice to meet different people. I don't know how we can get to know that we're there. Eventually I will make a t-shirt with Collins Engage on, so that will give people a clue. So like I say, I hope that was interesting, and I'll see you and speak to you again in the near future. Subscribe, comment, let me know if you've had any problems with scissor points, and I'll speak to you soon. So bye for now. Bye.